Before we quickly analyze the Parse, I do have the trial and dungeon build on my website. I will put the link in the description. Now keep in mind there's a lot of really good gear combos, so this is not the exact same setup that I run in trials. First off, we're running the Lover Mundus Stone because it will give us a little bit more overall damage on the target dummy. As you can see, it was a 6 million target dummy. I do think you should test on a 6 million dummy to see whether you actually have enough sustain or not. Obviously in a raid it will still be a little bit better because you have access to bubbles. Now in this try here I was running Mechanical Acuity and 2 Fanged with Velidreth, and I was running 2 Oxes. Like with Acuity you can run 2 Oxes, you can run 1 Ox and a sword, or 1 Ox and a dagger. It's really up to you, but I didn't have anything else, so that's why I was running this. And obviously a Maelstrom bow. Now, just to quickly talk about the weapon crit. Here it says average weapon crit is 75%, but this is not true. Because Combat Metrics calculates it wrong. It thinks 148% is actually a good number. But it doesn't make sense to go over 100%, so you need to look here. 60% was my real average crit rating, which you can see here as well, more or less. Now, how did we get to those numbers? Another thing, we don't have access to Major Fracture on Stem Sorc. That's like the debuff the tanks usually use, just keep that in mind. So the Parse will always be a little bit lower compared to a Stem DK or a Stem Nightblade, which already have these debuffs in their skills and rotation. Endless Hail, your strongest single target and AoE dot. Cult drops also AoE and single target dot, just really strong, both of those. Poison Injection is a single target, Twin Blade and Blunt. This is the Ox Bleed that we have here. Usually, it's not really, like, when you see each Ox gives your melee attack an 8% chance to bleed enemies. And 2k is actually pretty nice. Usually it's a little bit lower. Usually it's around 1.7k. Since Morrowind, it seems that the Ox Bleed procs less compared to before Morrowind. I don't know why. I think they just classified some skills different, so it procs less. Hurricane, another AoE dot, is also really strong single target, as you can see, and Ballista. Here we got a lot of lucky crits, as you can see, 83%. The door obviously depends whether Acuity procs or not, so you can kinda mess around that a little bit. Shroud Daggers, single target, also has an AoE component to it actually. As you can see, the dagger bounces up to 2 times to other nearby enemies, dealing 11k on the first bounce and 13k on the second bounce. So the more it bounces, the more damage it will actually do, so it's a really cool ability. Other than that, yeah, maybe the poison weapon, 1.3k, I would say decent. Velidreth was a little bit low, 1.2. If you want, like on a Stem Sorc, you also can run Stormfist. It will give you about the same damage, but you will have better sustain. When we look now, we have like 925, and when you actually choose to run Stormfist, goes up to 1.2k almost, so that will give you just more sustain on the target dummy or in a raid. It doesn't matter, on both places. Then the poisons that we are using here, damage health poisons, they did, so this is one part, 500 and 900, so like 1.4 1.5k damage from those. Yeah, 1.5k, they are really nice. Yeah, I think that's more or less it. Nothing else to really say here. We had a lot of max stem due to this. It's actually nice bound armaments, but just keep in mind, if you're in a raid, you don't have really good healers, or you stand in a lot of stuff that you shouldn't stand in, I do recommend running Vigor and Crit Surge, so you get more heals. Yeah, that's it for this time. Again, check out the dungeon and trial build on my website. This is a little bit different because we are on a target dummy and not in a real raid situation. Make sure to not forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.